explain, Steve?
I will. I've just sent a text to this number that some of you may have heard of, 63336. Now, apparently this is a number you can send a text to, and it will answer any question that you have for it. And in the past, for instance, I sent it quite profound questions. I once asked it, should they have dropped the second bomb on Nagasaki, and it had a very thoughtful answer. So we've sent it a question, perhaps equally thoughtful. Karl Pilkington believes in ghosts. Is he an idiot?
Karl, do you believe in ghosts?
Yeah. I mean, I haven't seen like a proper ghost.
So why do you believe in something that there's no evidence for?
Yeah, but why are we here then? If it is just sort of you're born, right? And we are useless. At least other creatures, when they're born.
Well, you speak for yourself.
No, but other creatures are born to do a job, aren't they? When a bee's born, you know what that's going to be doing. It hasn't got any options. That's got a job to do. And it does that job and it dies and the next one comes along.
Oh.
We asked it, do you believe in ghosts? The existence of ghosts is not proven. Many experiments have claimed to identify ghosts, but none have been scientifically sound.
Excellent. See,
Yeah,
that's a sensible, intelligent, logical, thoughtful answer.
Weird things have happened to me when I was living at home. And was in bed one
Where
night.
do you live now?
No, but I was at my first home.
Your parents?
Yeah, my mum and dad's. So I'm in bed, and I'm lying there. And you know, you get that sense of like, oh, there's something going on.
Right.
And I sort of look over my quilt, and there's nothing there. Thinking it's weird, that. So turn me back on it. I'm thinking, I don't want to know. If there is something there, I don't want to know. Right? So I'm turning me back on it. But then there's like a really high-pitched noise, right? Sort of the hairs on my back are like going up a bit. And I'm like, oh, I don't like this. And it's the high-pitched noise.
You had a hairy back
louder.
even as a kid?
No, but you know, everyone's got little hairs on them,
a-
haven't they? Everyone's got little tiny hairs on them and stuff. And I thought, I can't stand this. And I turned around, put the light on, legged it downstairs, right? And my mum's saying, what are you doing? I'm going, oh, I don't know, there's something up there. So she said, all right, then watch the telly. So I stayed up for a bit, watching the telly. Went back to bed, the high-pitched noise had gone. Went to sleep. Get up the next day. Charlie from next door comes round. He goes, Hilda's dead. Right? And my dad said, oh, when did that happen? I said, last night at 11:15.
Right.
That's when I was in bed.
So? What are you telling me for?
Because it's weird, isn't it? It's that thing of...
what do you think would be weirder, that no one ever died at 11:15 when you were in bed?
No, but that's when all the weirdness was going on. That's when the tone was happening, my back was getting itchy and stuff. And
Coincidence.
And I went down and watched telly, went back up, gone and that, but that's when her spirit had sort of...
No.
Ah, okay, right, interesting. No, this is where we get into the facts.
So Hilda's spirit had left
was whizzing round my bedroom, because my bedroom was right next door to theirs.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying, that's one.
Why do they whiz round when they die? Why do spirits whiz round when they die?
Because they're going, where am I going?
Are they?
And they're whizzing round, aren't they? Am I going down? Am I going up?
No, that's Karl.
No, but
I'm going the wrong way.
Yeah, but it's not going to be easy, is it? How do you think it works?
It doesn't work.
But once again, it's not proof of anything, Karl. Beyond the fact that you were a child in bed.
Why did your dad ask what time she died?
No, he just sort of, you know, what do you say to someone when it's awkward, isn't it? When someone gives you bad news, so you just think, well, what can I ask?
What time
did
exactly?
that happen?
Sorry?
No, you just go,
exactly what time did she die?
My wife passed away.
Yeah,
what time exactly?
No, not exactly. He just said, oh, that's bad. When did that happen? Like, what time?
And he said, well, thanks for asking.
Quarter to 11. Quarter to 11.
I remember.
What did he say last night? Oh, that's weird, isn't it? Convenient, aren't they, all these stories?
Or is it? Or, yeah, I mean, it's either that's exactly what happened, Rick, or he's misremembering the actual
I don't know which one to plump for.
But I tell you this though,
go on.
You know, if we're talking about ghosts and that.
Yeah.
Now, Hilda.
Yeah.
Choose your bog standard old woman.
Right.
I hope that's on the gravestone.
I know, yeah.
No,
did you do the eulogy?
No, you know.
That's great.
You
what can we say about Hilda? Bog standard old woman. Right, there's sandwiches at the bar.
That's the most insulting thing you could ever say.
There's nothing. No.
Let's just think about
Hilda lived her life. Thank you for coming to celebrate the life of Hilda.
Who died at 11:15 specifically.
And was a bog-standard old woman. Are we burning or burying?
But anyway, she lived to be quite old.
Which annoyed you?
In a bog-standard way.
But this is what I was saying about us all living too long and stuff. It just makes it worse when it does come to us being a ghost.
I don't know what you're talking about again.
That sentence made no sense.
Just, if you are going to be haunted, right, say, I know you're going to say, well, I don't believe in them, so I'm not worried, so don't be going on about it. But say, like, you know, your new place that you've bought, you move in, and you go to bed, and there's something moving about the room. You see it, it's a ghost.
Oh, no.
Okay, let's, for the sake
More
of argument...
likely, a Siamese cat called Ollie.
No, because that's probably got its own room, hasn't it? But what I'm saying is, would you prefer to have an old person moving about looking at you, or just a young person? I'd prefer a youngish person who looks normal and is sort of floating about, and you go, all right.
That looks normal, floating about.
No, but an old woman would really scare me. And ghosts are always going to have a bad reputation because they look scary because they're old. So that's...
You talk absolute shit.
That's all I'm saying. So
Can you believe we ever charged for this?
No, but look, if we are going into another life, right, after this...
Which we're not,
we move on to another life.
Yeah.
We're not going to move on. That land, say if it is like another world, where we go and we plough fields and we grow
Croppage.
We grow crop.
Crops.
Crops, if you want.
Yeah, well, I would like to use the English language.
Yeah, but there's too much fruit about, so just a crop. Just something we need to get by.
He's got an answer for everything.
That's
So we
what
grow
I'm
some
saying.
crop.
Yeah. So you grow your crop, and now, if we're all going into that other land or world or universe, old, who's going to do the cropping?
Oh, God! Oh, I've never heard so much crop in my life.
It's a load of old crop.
Like, you don't believe in, like, scary stuff. Just like, you know, ghosts.
No, I believe in scary stuff. I don't believe in things
ghosts
that are totally
and that.
logical. Yeah, ghosts.
Vampires?
No. Anything made up by man.
Well, there was something in the paper the other day about a vampire. How they found one. They dug something up.
It was in the paper?
And,
oh, it's true then.
It's definitely true.
But we'll leave that. But we'll leave that because you're just going to do that, so it doesn't matter.
No, come on.
Go on, quickly. Tell us.
No, it's just that they found a body in a coffin with a bit of wood through its heart and a knife in its mouth. But if you don't believe it,
it was
then
a
what's the
vampire
point?
pirate. It was a vampire pirate.
But that's definitely proof of a vampire then, and of course, and not some grotesque murder. Yeah. That's definitely proof of a vampire.
If it wasn't made up.
Hang on a minute.
As far as I'm aware, when you put the thing through their heart, they just turn into dust.
And also, all their victims get their own life back.
Yeah, exactly.
right,
Yeah, that's
and here was the second bit.
Yeah.
Somebody dug it up, got the heart, blended it, burnt it, popped it in some water, drank it, and they're in prison now. Now, if it wasn't dodgy stuff, why are they in prison?
They're in prison because they're mental, because they dug up a body, liquidised its heart, burnt it and drank it. That's why they're in prison.
There's your answer.
Right. But anyway, that isn't what I'm talking about, right? But I met Derek Akora the other week.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Now, who's he? Which one's he?
Is
he a medium? He can contact the dead, is that right?
He just chats to them and that, passes messages on.
Nice of him.
So I said, oh, tell us something a bit weird and that. So he said, what do you want to know? I said, just something weird. So he goes, alright then. He said, here's one for you, right? And he said, there's this pub out in the country. And he said, there's this mug. Do you know those old mugs that they have? Where they used to like leave their own cup knocking
like
about, didn't they?
Oh, yeah.
The tankard thing.
Yeah.
So there was one of them mugs in there, right? And everybody...
Tankard, let's use tankard if we've established that.
Tankard, yeah.
Because you're the only mug in this story.
Right.
You believe in it all.
High five. Great.
So this tankard's knocking about, right? And everyone who's running the pub keeps going, oh, I wish they'd stop leaving this tankard about, right? And they pick it up.
It must be a pain. Having a tiny, small tankard in a pub. That must be a real grind.
So every time they sort of picked it up and went, we'll have to wash that, and they popped it on a different sideboard. Next thing you know, that person who's touched it died, right?
Sure.
So
they must have been getting through bar staff.
So they kept getting new staff and that. And they were like, oh, what's the connection here? Right?
What's the connection here?
Oh, God.
So anyway,
call Australia. We've run out.
So they sort of someone notices and they go, you know, it's a bit weird. It's that cup, right? So they get
tankard.
So it's that tankard and that. So they get a vicar in.
Of course they do.
and they go, look, there's a lot of weird stuff going on here. This tankard, every time someone touches it, they die. So he said, leave it with me. He gets his special water out and what have you. He comes round, does a little prayer, sprinkles it. He goes, right, not a problem, don't worry about it. He picks it up, chucks it in the bin. Guess what?
What?
Dies in a crash on the way home. Because he'd picked it up.
Well, but Carl, you're telling me this like it's fact, and I'm meant to go, that's amazing.
Cora, he told me.
Carl, I have no opinion of that story, other than I'm pretty sure there was absolutely no connection between touching the tankard and him dying. That's all I'm sure of.
It's not just him though, is it?
I'm not going to even contest the chain of events. All I'm saying is there is no connection. There is no connection possible, because I believe in logic and the laws of the universe. So when you're telling me miracles and strange things outside coincidence, you may as well be telling me about the Tooth Fairy and the Easter Bunny, because they're equal to me. That it's ludicrous. It's absolutely ludicrous.
So what would it take though for you to go, oh, I'm actually a believer now?
But what you're saying is I can't answer that question, because I'd have to base my beliefs on some of your premises, which I can't do. It's like you saying, but what if you found out that 2 and 2 equaled 5? I can't. It's a necessary truth that it doesn't. I'd have to go back and fundamentally disagree with what I think twoism is, two-ness and fiveness.
And you've never been in a situation though where you've gone, this room feels a bit weird. Could be something, do you know what I mean? Could be something knocking about, or.
But that's a different question. I could go into a really rough-looking pub and think, this isn't good, because it's
No,
based
like
on induction then.
I
Because
mean, like, you know, if you've been to Cornwall on holiday and stayed somewhere and you've gone, do you know what? Sure, so much died in here.
I'm sure so much died everywhere.
Yeah, but what I mean, you never pick up a vibe of, like, I've got a mate, right, who is living in this big stately home, right, and what it
Why is he living there?
He's paying £100 a month, right, and it's almost like he's being a security man.
Oh, right.
But he's not. He doesn't sit out the door with that on and everything. He just goes about his life, but he bases most of his work in this stately home.
So what is it, like a
housekeeper, like he's sort of house sitting?
A little bit, yeah. I mean, it's massive. It's bigger than Buckingham Palace, this place, right?
So what is it, a billionaire that's gone away or something?
I think it's some sort of. I think he said something about a viscount or something, right? He said he owns this place. He's living in America. This place he owns, but it's falling to bits.
Wow. And
he's worried that people are going to go in there and squat and what have you. So he said to me, mate, you know, there was an advert in the paper, he doesn't know him, advert in the paper saying, do you want to live in a big house, 100 quid or whatever, and he went and had a look, right, and he's living in there now. He pays £100 a month. There's about 80 rooms.
Gee.
And it's this big stately house and what have you, and I went down there. He said, oh, come down and have a look, right, and from outside you go, oh, this is brilliant, it's like something out of, you know, like the Man of Born or something. You go, this is impressive. But then when you get in, it's like, it's a wreck.
It's just falling apart because they can't afford.
Well, it's just been left. No one's doing any vacuuming up or anything. There's like rat poison everywhere. Like windows are smashed, doors kicked in.
That's a real shame. Why is it? Is it?
I don't think he's doing his job, is he?
Is it because it would cost like millions to do up or something?
Well, apparently it'd be like, I think they're going to have it done up, but it's going to cost like 80 million, right? So anyway, so
it's a big house.
It's a big house.
So we go to the pub and what have you. I've got like a little torch, and we're wandering around looking in all these different rooms, right? And I'm asking him, how's it got in this state? Do you know what I mean? If someone's had it, why have they let it get to this state? And he was saying how, you know, it was like a mental home at one point, and it was like a drug thing as well. People who had problems with drugs, they popped them out there because it's in the middle of nowhere. Do you know what I mean? If you needed drugs or anything, forget it. It's not going to happen. Do you know what I mean? So that's straight away. Do you know, like, have you ever been in a hospital when it's been shut down, or a school when there's no kids in it, and there's that sort of bad atmosphere of like weirdness?
Yeah.
Right.
For the sake of argument, yeah.
So we're wandering about, and I say, oh yeah, what's in this room, right? And we go in, and all the floors are like a wreck and rotten and stuff. and I looked at the wall, and there was like a little piece of paper stuck on the wall, right? And I said, "What's this here?" So I wandered over, right? Got right up close to it, and somebody had wrote
Somebody had roted.
Oh,
Somebody had roted.
Imagine on Jack and Ori. Okay. Right, go on,
so there's a little sign there, right? And I go up to it, and it says flies, right, with an arrow. Flies this way, right? I think that's a bit weird. So I follow the arrow, right, which goes to this corner where there's a shelf, about 3,000 dead flies on it.
Oh my God.
Condom stuck on the top. That's weird, isn't it?
That is weird.
That is weird. Right? So I'm looking at that, and there's loads of stuff on the floor and that, bits of paper. Picked up this bit of paper, right, and it had like in biro and that. It looked really old, like it'd been there years, and it had something like need nappies, dummy, right, blankets, like all this, like all stuff for like. And I turned it over, right, and it said none of this now needed. Baby dead.
Right.
Now that's weird, isn't it? Now that's what I'm talking about when you get a bad vibe. You go, that's who's been in here.
So I don't actually understand what point you're trying to make, Carl.
Just because who's written that? Who's been in that room? Who's been in that state? And then straight away your mind starts going, oh, I'm getting bad vibes in here.
But Carl, didn't you just tell us that this was once occupied by drug addicts and mentals, to use your word?
Yeah.
So haven't you put two and two together and thought that was probably who wrote it? That doesn't mean it's paranormal or ghostly. You walk into a building, it's a big, terrifying, empty house. It's terrifying in as much as it's cold and dark and drafty and a little bit spooky in this sort of illustrative sense.
And insecure.
Yeah, you're a bit nervous because it's got this sort of, it's got its bad vibe. It's just based on the fact that
your mate's in charge.
Yeah, that's terrifying. I mean, yeah, so it's like saying, are we scared of the dark? Yes, I understand why people are scared of the dark. I'm a little bit scared of the dark. You're walking along.
Because you don't know what's in it.
Yeah, you don't know what's in the darkness. That's why people get nervous. It doesn't mean you have to make the leap then that you've got some paranormal sense. Oh my God, I'm Karl Pilkington, and hang on, just like Derek Acora, I have sensed something strange and evil in this room. Wait a minute, there's some flies in a condom. I was right all along.
That is weird.
Flies in a Johnny equals badness.
the flies in a condom was weird.
It's weird, I don't know,
but the note.
Yeah.
I just think of his face when he saw that, reading it by torchlight. You must have been terrified.
Right, there's this fella, I think it happened in America, and he saw a bright light in the sky. And
Karl, if you're bored.
And he stood there.
This is a true story, is it?
Yeah. He stood there.
Yes, of course it isn't, Steve.
And he saw this bright light, and it came closer and closer, and it was a UFO. Right?
Yep.
And he looked at it, and it disappeared, right? And he gets back in his car.
He looks in the mirror.
And he looks in the mirror.
Yep.
He's only got a beard.
He has.
Right?
What?
And it turned out, he got home and said to his wife or his girlfriend, it's a bit weird. So I just got the death thing, right?
Yeah.
There was an argument on there about, do you know that Twilight Zone or whatever it was, Tales of the Unexpected?
Oh, yeah.
Where the woman got buried alive?
Yeah.
They were saying how, like, years ago, they'd bury people thinking they're dead.
Yeah.
And they've recently, like, dug coffins up, and then the people who were in the coffin weren't dead, they might have just been, like, in some sort of deep sleep or whatever. And they've lifted the lid off.
Yeah.
And there's scratch marks on the thing.
Yeah.
And that's pretty scary.
Makes you think. I mean, I hope they check these days. I don't know where. I thought you'd sort of learnt a little bit, Karl, what is an interesting fact and what might just be a mentalist online. Do you know what I mean? Do you know what point we're making here? Why the truth is so much more even a little bit, even something that's just, you know, mild but is definitely the truth is so much more interesting than just wish fulfillment of truth. To me, if it starts with there was this ghost, right, it's not interesting. You could say anything. There was this ghost that could turn custard into wine. It doesn't matter. There was this ghost that had 9 heads. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. There was this
you know, Carl's looking at you going, there's a ghost that can turn custard into wine?
Yeah, it doesn't matter what you say after that. There's a ghost that can swallow alligators whole. The premise means it's not true to me. Do you know what I mean? It's like people say, you know what? God, right? He's incredible. I gotta stop you there. The fact that he can make the Earth in 7 days, well, you've lost me already. Do you know what I mean? Whereas someone says something like, you know, a cockroach can live 5 days without a head, that's interesting. That's interesting.
Right.
Do you think when you die, they say you're a ghost? This is going to amaze you. You can go and you can spook people out.
Yeah.
Do you like custard? Come over here.
No. Well, if you don't, you don't. Do you like wine? Of course I do. Oh, you are going to love it.
You're going to love me.
You're going to love it.
I've lost all my loved ones.
Yeah. Do you see what I mean? It's what your sort of beliefs are based on. Mine are sort of on, I suppose, logic and science. And
So
but I'm
what-
amazed by the world and
So the Iceman, why does that amaze you? What's like, ooh...
well, they found some part of our preserved past. You know, it's interesting. Again, I'm amazed by anthropology and evolution.
Yeah.
Go
It's
on.
just that line on its own like that, you know, they found an Iceman is great, but then it went on, and it's going on about, you know, they've had to get different people involved to find out how old it was. Because first of all, the story started off, right, an old fellow on holiday somewhere, where did they find it, in Sweden or something? And he was walking in the hills, and...
He was walking
in the hills.
in heels. Was he a transvestite?
In the mountains.
Oh, right.
In the hills.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's walking about, and he sees this body in the snow, and he thinks, oh. So he calls the police up, and they come and have a look, and he goes, oh yeah, it's probably a murder. So then they dig it up and find out he's got hold of a spear in his hand.
Right, and he's dressed like Fred Flintstone.
Yeah.
Right.
Then they realise it's probably not a recent murder.
Right.
His knuckles are dragging on the floor. He's
Yeah.
a Neanderthal man. They
Yeah.
think, hang on, Karl Pilkington.
But when they found out, hang on, it's an old thing.
It's an old thing.
Can it? If it was a murder recent, then you'd go, hang on, how did this happen? Who does he belong to?
Yeah.
But the chances are whoever murdered him is also dead.
5,000 years ago, probably. Yeah.
So leave it. Just bury it.
I don't think it's a murder investigation.
No, but they are.
It's not Quincy going, this was before my time.
It's not a murder investigation.
No?
Just one thing bothers me, sir. Just one final thing. My wife loves you, but this guy.
That's how they were
Why
treating
would
it.
he have a spear
Yeah.
and a leopard skin? I just can't. I can't get over this.
What are you talking about?
That's what I'm saying.
What are you saying? Right, shut up everybody. What are you saying? You've got one chance now. You've got to ask me a question, and I will answer it the best way. But what are you saying?
I'm
What is your
saying,
question?
Right, he probably spent a load of money.
That's
trying
not
to
a
sort
question.
out-
That's not a
Yeah,
question.
but let me tell you what I'm saying, right? They're probably spending a load of money finding out stuff about this fella who died. And even if he wasn't murdered, he'd be dead by now anyway. So get over it, right? 3,000 years ago, he died, right? So then they start messing about with it, saying, well, how did he die? Well, it doesn't matter. It was ages ago. Then they start digging his belly open, seeing last meal that he ate.
Yeah.
Oh, he ate seeds and leaves. Well, no surprise, really. There's now else around. Again, spending more money. Someone's been paid money to sort that out. Then they bury him, and then said, hang on a minute, are you sure that he died by, like, a spear? Let's dig him up again. So they dig him up again, and find some splinter or
Sorry,
something.
I don't believe they buried him.
They did. Well, in some sort of fancy coffin so everyone can see him. But for me, that is more wasteful than sorting out something that's, you know, like someone who's ill. Sort something out, you know.
No, sorry, it's not either or. They didn't put a doctor out of surgery.
Exactly. It's
working-
not an old man in a bed in a corridor somewhere.
Yeah, they
going,
go, Ted, what are you
"Oh,
doing?
stomach."
I'm just giving this bloke a stat clear. No, look, we found an old fella in a skit. Okay, okay, you
Yeah.
take over. It's not either or, Carl. What are you talking about? It's scientific research.
But don't you see why this is fascinating? It gives us an insight into how we lived 3,000, 5,000 years ago. That's an incredible historical document.
What if it was your equivalent? What if he was like the Karl of the time, and there's people, you know, ghosts now through there going, oh God, you don't believe, I don't believe it. They've dug up Karl. They think we're all like that. Oh no, oh no, they're going into his brain now. They're looking at how his brain works. We're going to get such a bad rep. Oh
Well,
dear.
each to their own. If you like it, I just thought it was a bit of a
Waste of money.
a little bit of a waste.
Yeah, okay.
But there you go. Anyway, will we give out the answers to Rockbusters next?
If we
Yeah.
must.
Yeah.
It sometimes stuns me. Sometimes I'm taken aback. Do you know what I mean?
But what worries me is if one day aliens do visit,
I'd love
and
that.
they come down, yeah. But what worries me is they might bump in. What if they bump into you? What if they bump into you and they think that you represent mankind?
And they go up and they start another planet.
They can they say, we'll ask you 3 questions, and if you answer them correctly, we will not blow up your planet.
Yeah.
We'd be doomed.
It depends.
It depends what they ask you, don't they? What if they said, right, Karl, what's the weirdest thing ever found in China?
I say hairy Chinese kid.
And they go, right.
Okay, interesting.
Tell you what, right?
What don't you see anymore?
What do you see an old bloke doing?
Don't see an old fella eating a Twix.
Yeah. And they say, what if they asked you, what's across the road from you when you're washing up?
Well, there's 3 things. Do you just want one of them?
No,
Yeah.
I want all 3.
You want all 3? There was a Chinese kid dancing about in his underpants.
Yeah.
There was a bouncer every night getting ready to go to work. And the 3rd one, the old woman reading a book, the same book.
And they
every
go,
night.
right, your planet's saved. See,
Gorg, back in the ship.
Yeah,
they are a
it's-
superior race.
There's a shadow somewhere.
It's already good, isn't
I'm loving it
No,
already.
right. There's a shadow. I think it was in America.
Yeah.
And it's on a quiet road. I'm guessing somewhere like Boston. That's what I imagine.
Okay.
Right.
No.
Somewhere like Boston. And people at night used to see this shadow moving about. And they'd go, what's that? Right. And it got known, the town, the little local town got known for this shadow, but it didn't cause any problems. People
What are you
used to-
talking about?
Well, it was
Just
like-
you've lost me.
What are you talking
No,
about?
do you know like some places get famous, like Scotland's got the Loch Ness Monster and that, but it doesn't
go
cause
on,
any.
yeah.
But it doesn't cause any problems.
Doesn't exist, go on.
Right, so there's this shadow walking about on the road. And,
What do you mean? No, what's he again? Rubbish.
Right, so it's walking
Nonsense.
about.
Where did you read this? Where did you
It's
see
walking
this?
about. This was on the internet, and I'm
Oh,
sure.
sorry. Sorry. I thought it was shite. I didn't know it was on the internet.
Right, so this shadow is moving about, and
Independently of an object.
yeah, and the local mayor and that is like, yeah, it's a bit weird, but it's not harming anyone.
Ah, the mayor involved.
Was he elected to that post?
Hey, mayor, we got a problem down here. Seems like a shadow. Well, it's not causing any. No, it's
Is it
just.
causing any problems?
Yeah, go on.
But that's the thing. It was left for years, and then it did start causing problems.
I see, that's it. If you leave these shadows to go unchecked, Rick, they go crazy.
Yeah.
You let them run amok in the
Yeah.
city.
Yeah.
You've got to stand
What
down
did it do?
on
What did it
Roman
do?
shadows.
What did the shadow do?
It was pushing people off the bikes.
It was what?
It was pushing people off the bikes.
Oh,
I'll find out more for that next week. Right, that'll tease
oh,
them.
you're a maniac.
We'll do more on that. We haven't had time for
Please
educating.
never have children.
Right, listen. There's loads of things that have happened where people go, oh, that's weird. That goes to show that we've been around before, or.
No, it doesn't. There's none. I have no evidence for that. Of
Well, I
reincarnation.
told you that time when it happened to me when I was younger.
Go on.
Your life flashed before your eyes.
Well, it wasn't like a flashback, but it was close. It's the next thing next to flashbacks. It was I was having a bath, right, and my mum had like run the bath and that, and she said, "Is that too warm?" And I said something like, "No, it's all right. It's a lot better than when I used to have a bath in that wooden bath in front of the fire." And she was like, "What?" And I said, "You know, it happened years ago." And she was a bit like, "Oh," and I can't remember that now, but she talks about it, and. You know, that just goes to show that... Because I was at an age when I wouldn't have known about wooden baths years ago in front of fires.
No, but you talk rubbish now. So all you were doing, you were talking rubbish from an early age. Where's the problem?
No, but you can only talk rubbish if you're aware of knowledge.
Well,
I didn't know about wooden baths, so
You
why
didn't-
would I have
But
invented
Carl,
that?
we've only got your mother's word on this, and she thought you might one day be a doctor.
Yeah.
So,
She put a rock with a feather on it to keep a parrot company.
lest we forget.
Yeah, but I'm just saying.
Well, it's all bollocks.
So have you researched this? You've tried to find out when little Karl Mark I and his wooden bath, when he was
No, I
around?
don't want to go there, because that's when you start digging out all sorts
It's
of trouble,
rubbish. It's rubbish.
innit? No, it's not rubbish.
Well, it is
what
rubbish.
sort of stuff might
There's
you
no
discover?
scientific evidence.
No,
for-
just like I've said about family trees and that, don't be looking at them, because you're only going to find stuff you don't really want to know about. It's the same as that, innit? Leave it, let it be. Do you know what I mean? If your granddad was Einstein, you'd know about it because your family would be shouting about it. If he was a bad un, you go, oh, keep that quiet. So don't look at family trees, and it's the same. Don't be looking back in your past lives,
There's
because
no
God knows
past
what you've been up
lives.
to. Well,
Karl and the wooden bath.
proof. If
Karl
proof we needed.
Pilkington, live on air, talking shit again.
Tell you a story that Karl told me a couple of weeks ago.
Is this another ghost story? Another
Yeah,
spooky
it is,
story?
yeah. I called him out. I was, what are you doing? He said, I said, I've just been reading ghost stories again. He said, right, he said, you don't believe in them, but how do you explain this? Right, I went, go on. He said, I'll tell you as he told me it. He went, bloke, right, just sitting at home, doing, you know, watching telly with his cat. And, the phone rings, and it's a bloke going, is that fire, in your oven okay now? 'Cause your wife called. And he went, Karl went, well, 1, there was no fire in the oven. 2, he wasn't married. I went, right. Go on, he went, well. Then, right, there was a knock at the door and there was 2 sort of people in sort of white coats and they came and said, oh, we've come about that fire. Your wife called us. He went, 1, there isn't a fire in my oven, and 2, I'm not even married. Right? And he said, they saw the cat, and they looked at the cat, it looked a bit weird at the cat came out, nothing. He said, and then he went back, sat down, phone rings, and they said, did they sort out the fire in the oven that your wife told us about?
Oh.
He went, 1, there is no fire in my oven, 2, I haven't got a wife. And Karl went, what do you think of that? I went, that's not it. He went, yeah, I went,
That's the end of the story.
What? He went, well, how'd you explain that? I went, explain what? I thought he was going to say, a year later he got married but she died in an oven fire. Right? I thought it was going to be that, and I went,
That's
what?
people winding him up.
Yeah, or, someone did report a fire oven, and their name was Johnson, and they looked up Johnson, they got the wrong thing, it was the gas board, and they sent it round to the wrong person, right? Do you know what, he went, yeah, I said, I explained it to him, he went, yeah, why did they look at the cat funny?
Oh, man alive, Karl. This is really weird, right? I was in my house once, right, and the doorbell rang.
Yeah.
Right, I opened the door, and there was no one there.
Yeah.
Right? And then I looked across the street,
And some
right,
kids
and there were some
running-
kids running away.
Yeah.
Now, how do you explain that?
Yeah.
There was another time, right, where, like, I opened the door, and there was a bloke goes, you've ordered pizza. I went, I haven't ordered pizza. And I heard my mate upstairs giggling and putting the phone down.
Yeah, how do you explain that? Karl, seriously, why did you tell me that story? What do you think it was weird about that?
The fact that it was 3 different people.
Is this all the information? Is that the entire story?
It was 3 different people.
Did you fall
hassling
asleep
him
and not read
about
the end?
A fire that didn't happen, about a wife that didn't exist, and a cat that didn't look happy.
Oh, I'm gonna have a heart attack, Karl. What? I mean, why did they look at the cat funny?
Because cats don't like spirits, do they?
What? The other blokes were ghosts?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
So these are kind of beetle about type ghosts. These are ghosts who walk the earth as the undead, just winding people up slightly.
That's lovely. That is lovely.
seriously,
and a cat that did not look happy.
But seriously, why would ghosts wander around just like winding people up?
Oh.
Maybe something did happen there years ago. Some fire, some woman might have died in a house of a fire or something.
Yeah.
And it sort of all happened again. Bit of a-
Yeah, it's certainly a mystery. It's
I mean, if you don't
It is a mystery. I mean, I can't.
What's this book you were reading? You were reading a book, which is interesting enough.
It was the 14 Times.
Oh, Karl.
Yeah. Well, I
Man
don't know.
alive.
I don't know what to say. Do you believe in? I think lycanthropy. Is it not called
What's that, sorry?
lycanthropy?
What's lycanthropy?
Isn't that werewolfism?
Really?
Isn't it? Do you believe in that, Karl?
They've found stuff, haven't they? They've found kids walking about who are all hairy. Because they've sort of grew up with wolves and that.
Yeah.
So
No. You see, 2 things there. Right. You cannot take on acquired characteristics genetically. So if you grew up with wolves, it wouldn't suddenly make you hairy.
There's been pictures, there's been stories on it, and I reckon most people or a lot of people have seen the stories. It's a popular thing.
You mean the kids that are born hairy?
No, there's kids who've been born hairy, right?
Yeah, that's it.
No, but listen, and they walk around on all 4s, and they drink milk from a saucer.
Steve, this is
No,
too
remember,
easy.
remember that time with the maggot in the head? Getting out with bacon, and you were like laughing, and then people called up and said, yeah, I've seen that, I've read about that.
Yeah,
this
but
is the same thing.
Have you seen an XFM listener up close? Have you ever looked?
They
studied?
drink milk from a saucer.
Yeah, they've got to be kept on leads. people who listen to this show.
There's no point in me telling you about stuff.
There is. It's comedy
See,
gold.
when you were at school, did you keep arguing with the teacher saying you're talking rubbish there?
Teachers didn't teach us about werewolf boys and ghosts. They taught us maths. God, right. Tell the story about the manhole cover.
Right, in the same magazine as the one with the cat and the fire and that.
Don't tell me that story again, it gives me the shivers.
Yeah, a cat that's got a weird expression on its face is against God.
Anyway, this isn't a scary story. This was just like physics. Physics.
Yeah, yeah.
It was going on about the nuclear bomb and how powerful it is. And they put a manhole cover on top of one. Okay. Blew it up.
Yeah.
Never saw the manhole cover again.
Man alive, Carl. Unexplained.
What's going on there? Something weird is happening there. Oh.
If anyone has ever seen that manhole cover, please get in touch. We'd love to know where it is.
Oh, that's fantastic. What sort of experiment is that? I imagine all these scientists on multi-billion-pound research projects, they're going, we test everything. What would you do to a manhole cover? Don't know.
That's like letting a couple of students.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
control of a nuclear
Do you reckon it can
Let's
send a
put this
traffic cone into orbit? Go on then, put it on there. I love that. Imagine that. What value is that? I might tell you what we could do. We could put the manhole cover on it and aim it and then blow the bomb up and the manhole cover would have someone's eye out. Fire it. See if you can fire manhole covers off the nuclear bomb. Whatever. Try bangers to a bomb. See if it's louder. Oh, God. You saw something about the Bermuda Triangle, didn't you?
Yeah, when I talked about ghosts, you sort of just, because you don't believe in it. I think it's because you're scared of it, to be honest, and you can't admit to understanding it and actually believing in it.
Sure.
Thing on last night, Steve.
Yes.
Bermuda Triangle.
Oh, yeah.
Do you know much about that?
Mainly the song by, what was his name?
What's his name?
Bermuda Triangle, where people disappear.
No,
Bermuda Triangle.
What's his name? No, Barry Manilow.
Barry Manilow.
Yeah.
Are you familiar with the lyrics? Bermuda Triangle, where people disappear. Bermuda Triangle, don't go near.
Yeah.
I shouldn't really make a joke out of it.
No, you're right. Go on.
But what it is, right? There's a program saying what it's about. What do you know about it?
As I say, mainly from what Barry's told me, but certainly planes and various boats have gone missing within the Bermuda Triangle.
Planes.
Yeah, but obviously that documentary didn't explore
He
it.
learned a lot about that. I learned a lot about American history through "We Didn't Start the Fire" by Billy Joel.
Again, most of my knowledge of the sort of Tsarist Russia comes from
Rasputin by Boney M.
Well, listen.
Yeah, he was the lover of the Russian queen.
They put some poison into his wine.
Yeah, yeah. They shot him till he was dead.
Yeah.
Which is, go on.
Right, well, this.
Oh, those
right?
Russians.
Sort of bit of an earthquake in the sea.
Sure.
Lets out methane gas.
Okay.
Yeah.
And apparently, if you were swimming out in the sea,
Yeah.
and there was like an earthquake and some methane came out, you can't swim in it, you just sink.
Okay.
Even if you're a good swimmer.
What happens if you're two lads from your school? And they
big heads.
Yeah, that's like a buoy. So you can see them a mile off, and their webbed hands would get them into shore.
Because they did actually say, even if you're wearing a life jacket, if the water's full of methane, right?
You just sink.
You just sink. So what it's saying is, boats have gone across the sea, got a load of methane in the sea, and the boat just sinks.
Right. What about the planes?
Is it them sort of planes with little sort of floaty things
Could
on?
be.
That'll be the sort they've landed in the sea.
Right.
And methane's coming.
Well, sorry, Carl. What did the documentary say? Not I imagine.
Yeah, your hypothesis might be one
Yeah.
thing.
What did they sound
They
documentary?
didn't cover that bit. They didn't
cover the planes.
They didn't do the planes.
Something else they said about it though.
Go on.
Loch Ness, the monster,
Sure.
probably doesn't exist.
Okay.
What it is,
Interesting. Hold on. Interesting. Oh, interesting.
Is-
What they thought the Loch Ness probably didn't exist.
Curious viewpoint.
Hold on. What proof have they got for that, Carl? How can they go around saying stupid things like that?
it's methane,
Right.
Again, in Loch Ness.
and people have seen. What's the lake it's in?
Loch
Loch Ness.
Yeah.
It being the Loch Ness monster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's where it lives. That's how it finds its way home.
That's
You're
certainly
never
the
gonna
clue.
learn.
Yeah, if
Get again, Carl.
yeah,
That's the clue.
Yeah, if it go, and it's if it's out wandering, it goes. Excuse me, what do you know? Where I'm being the Loch Ness monster. Where would I be going? Oh, you'd be going to the Loch Ness if that's your home. It's away over there, you
So
big
anyway,
monster, you.
So the bubbles from the
Sure.
methane bubble up out of the water.
Yeah.
People think, oh god, it's a monster's head. But it's not, it's just water sort of shooting up because of the bubbles.
Well, that's two of the great mysteries of the universe solved by Karl P on a Saturday afternoon.
That is fantastic.
Yeah.
So that makes me think a lot of things. So you know, when mediums are sort of like going, "Oh, I've got something coming through." Do you think they are exhaling a lot of methane gas, and thus making them not think straight? Do you think everything's down to methane gas? Do you think that all the mysteries of the universe are down to methane gas, Karl? What did it say in the documentary you saw?
About what?
What was the budgie happy? We know that budgie was sad. Was it in a room? Because they used to take canaries down the mines, didn't they? They used to take canaries down the mines, they'd smell the methane, and then the budgie would be happy.
It was in St Ives, and just, you know, it was a nice day and that. There was no telly in the place. It was a horrible house. It was haunted.
Wow.
Actually, no, honestly.
No, not honestly. It wasn't haunted. There's no such thing as ghosts. So you saying honestly it was haunted means fuck all.
It's the weirdest place and weirdest sensation I've ever had. I spoke to a woman called Mrs. Battersby,
Right.
who sat on my bed keeping me up all night. My mum came up, she said, "You look shattered." I said, "Yeah, I haven't had a kip all night." She said, "Why?" I said, "I've been talking to Mrs. Battersby." She said, "Who's that?" I said, "No, some old woman." Now, I can't remember it now, but that's what I did then. And then,
Sorry. So Mrs. Battersby didn't exist. Is that what you're saying? She was the ghost.
yeah.
Wasn't the landlady.
No, there's no landlady. It's a big house, about 12 bedrooms in it.
Right.
Dead cheap to stay there because it was a wreck. My
Were
mum
you
and dad
ill?
went out
Were you
one
ill?
night.
Did you have flu at the
No,
time?
I had nothing like that. I just...
So you were sitting up, but you were awake, and you were having a conversation with Mrs. Battersby.
What did she look like?
I can't remember. I can't even remember having the chat now.
Right,
But
so-
at the time I was like, oh, she just doesn't shut up. Chatting all night.
So you don't remember this happening? Or you do remember it happening?
No, I remember that, like, if I see my mum now and I mention St Ives, she'll go, "Oh yeah, Mrs. Battersby." She remembers coming in, because she was older than me, wasn't she? So, to
Who?
her, my mum.
Was she?
Yeah.
How old was Mrs. Battersby? She was older than both
She
of you.
was old because I'm calling her Mrs. Battersby. If she was my age, I'd probably say, "Oh, it's Susan" or whatever.
Right, sure,
You
Miss
call older
Miss
people
Battersby.
by the surname, don't you?
Yeah.
Anyway, so she kept me
How
up
old
all
were you?
night. Don't know. I'm thinking of pictures at the wedding.
Why do you have to go through other things to just have a memory?
How old do you reckon you were?
I don't understand why you haven't got direct access to your memories.
How old do you reckon you were?
Your mum was older though, yeah?
You must have a vague idea of when this
I'm
event
thinking about
was.
it now. I'm thinking. I'm
Okay.
picturing a picture of myself at this wedding.
Okay.
And how old are you? What are you doing?
How tall were
I'd
you?
say I look about.
How were you?
I'd say I look about 7 or 8. Looking at the picture.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
So Mrs. Battersby is chatting away to you. You don't remember what she said, but you do remember having the conversation.
No, he doesn't remember it
I
at
don't
all.
remember the chat now.
Well, then
So-
why are you telling?
It's
You
not
must
your
remember it
memory.
because you're telling us about
It's not
it.
your
Because it's a
memory.
memory. My mum's reminded me of it.
Yeah, but all it says is, oh, this is so far removed. This is hearsay that your mum said you spoke to a ghost once, and you don't even remember the ghost.
Mrs. Battersby.
No,
Yeah,
you
no, but
remember
you
the
don't
name
remember
only because
her.
your mum reminded you of
In a
it.
court of law, if there was a ghost court, they go hearsay, thrown out of court.
Right.
You
yeah.
don't have a memory of Mrs.
No,
Battersby.
look, I know that when I was a kid,
Yeah.
I ate a beetle. I ate a beetle because I thought it was licorice. Now, I can't remember that now.
You can't remember that, but you know it happened because your mother told you it happened.
Exactly.
Right. But the fundamental thing is that we can believe we can believe you ate a beetle, right? Because that is something that could happen in real life.
But-
what we're questioning is that you spoke to a ghost.
I thought it was licorice. What sort of beetle was it?
Just one of them standard beetles. Just the black shiny one.
Thing is, right, a couple of years ago, we were in the Ivy, and the food came, and there's a big blob of wasabi, right? It was like called an Oriental hors d'oeuvre, right? And I looked over at Karl, and he started going, drinking water. I said, "What was that?" I said, "I heard that." I said, "That was a blob of wasabi." He said, "I thought it was one mushy pea."
That's a classy restaurant that they're serving one mushy pea.
Well, they do that, don't they?
Wow.
Small portions. It's all trendy, isn't it?
Yeah, I love the fact that it's exactly the same thing. They've swapped beetle for wasabi
Yeah.
and licorice for pea. You see things, you see something, you
It's a
think...
good job you remembered that anecdote though, because he doesn't.
Exactly, yeah. In years to come, we'll be going, "I ate some wasabi once." Did you?
Yeah.
Well, according to Ricky, I did. Yeah, I was in the Ivy. I thought it were mushy pea.
So hang on, I just want to go back to Mrs. Battersby because
What
you
other-
confidently said it was
most
haunted, it was
haunted.
a haunted place,
Yeah.
but you've got no real evidence for it because even you claim you had this encounter, you don't even remember it.
But you don't remember everything in life,
But you
do you?
supposedly had a conversation with a ghost.
I know, but I didn't know. When I was younger, I
But you
didn't think
remember
that
the
was a
specifics
ghost.
of an ant walking around?
Yeah, so you thought, so I see. If you'd have had the memory, it would just be a nice old lady on the end of your bed all night.
Right.
And then...
Then when I mentioned it, my mum was saying, "What do you mean, Mrs. Battersby? Who's Mrs. Battersby?"
Right.
When you're a kid, you're not terrified, are you?
No.
Nothing scares
I mean,
you.
I'm beginning to think, who the fuck is Mrs. Battersby, I must admit. But
So, yeah, that was, but it was a weird place. I mean, there was no telly. All they had for sort of company was a calculator.
Carl, you are the strangest little man that's ever lived. Company.
No.
There goes Carl with his friend. What's his friend? Oh, it's a little...
It's a Sanyo 4197G.
I love that. That's amazing.
Oh, calculator, do that boobs thing again.
My mum and dad used to go out. I stayed in there.
Just shots of him with his calculator on the beach. Like that. It's sunlit. Maybe beautiful and
4 plus 16, what will it be?
My only friend was a calculator.
What was that one you told me and it was completely wrong? About the...
It was, oh yeah, right, it's years ago.
Oh, yeah.
Some
In olden days,
Oh, sure.
when
Some
ghosts roamed the earth.
Once upon a time, you mean?
Yeah.
some doctor or something who was into, like, the way bodies work. They got their head cut off.
Who did? The doctor?
Yeah, he was doing a bit of an experiment.
And he cut his own head off.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it was about, he said, when my head's in the basket, I'm gonna blink my eyes.
Right.
Okay, sorry, hang on, let him finish.
And,
So the doctor has chopped his own head off, and he's told everyone, I'm gonna blink my eyes to prove that
he's
there's
in the
life after
basket,
death.
and he goes like, right, I'm gonna blink my eyes about, as many times as I can. So quick, count them. And they count, and he got to like 15 before he
Right.
died.
Now this is how Karl told me that. Till Nick Frost explained that, Karl told me, he said, right, well a bloke, right, he had his head cut off, and when his head was in the basket, he went, count how many times I can blink. And I went, well that's rubbish. He went, no, and Nick went, well no, he actually said, when my head's in the basket. He went, and Karl went, alright. I said, Karl, do you know the subtle difference? Do you see the subtle difference?
I have to say though, guys, I still don't really understand what went on there. You've both lost me.
The story is that a bloke who'd been found doing,
You mean that Karl just explained it and that was a clear version? Because I still don't know what you're talking about, Karl.
Well, this bloke had his head cut off for experiments against God. He was a doctor in the, in olden times.
Yeah.
And when they cut his head off,
Why did they cut his head off?
because it was
He was executed.
crimes against he was executed, yeah. And he said to his assistant, when my head's in the basket, I'm gonna blink, count how many times I blink and write it down as an experiment, right? Karl told it to me, like his head was cut off and he went in the basket, and when his head was in the basket, he looked up and said, count how many times I blink. Yeah. I love that. I love the difference in that story.
Yeah, yeah.
Both rubbish,
Yeah.
but, one's possible and one isn't.
You believe anything that you're told, except when we tell you the truth.
Right,
Yeah.
here's one.
Christ.
Ghosts and that we got talking about.
Sure.
And Nick said, right, he said, you'll like this one. He said, my auntie, was having loads of problems.
Why are you whispering? It's not illegal to talk about ghosts on the radio.
No, but
Is he hearing this?
so, the auntie's in the house and that, and, furniture's moving about all the time.
Oh, God.
And they were like, no, this is...
Steve, he told me this one. This is such rubbish, mate.
Now, come on,
This
let's
is-
listen.
I'm gonna leave it to you. I'm gonna sit back and enjoy it. I'm just gonna watch your face, Steve.
Right.
Sorry, so
they
I missed
said,
the beginning there, Karl. There's an auntie in the house.
basically, Nick's auntie,
Right.
in the house, things moving around all the time, and it was just annoying every time she tidied up. It was like,
It's just annoying.
making a mess.
It was one part annoying to two parts scary.
Yeah.
So, stuff was moving around all the time, and they said, right, rather than
Right, we need an housekeeper.
rather than having the house a mess, until we sort this
Stop
out.
it!
I've got the vicar coming round. Stop moving stuff around.
Oh, yeah, go on.
They said,
That should be in the pants drawer.
let's put all the furniture in one room, right? So just have one room that's a mess, and have all the others empty.
Because I love the poltergeist can't really, it can move wardrobes around, but it can't open a door to put it in another room.
Yeah.
Poltergeist going, oh, I'm just making this room messy. I wish someone would open the door so I could, go on.
Yeah, but so all this stuff's in this room.
So they
right?
moved all their furniture into
Everything,
one
they
room.
put like the drawers in there and everything, and it was really uncomfortable because they were all like on top of each
They
other.
sat in the room with all the stuff.
Yeah, they had to because that's where the three-piece suite was.
Okay.
Oh God!
Right?
Oh God!
So they sat there, like, all crumpled up and that, but nothing can move because it's so tight. Things, I think things were trying to move, but everything was so tight. It's
They
just like,
foxed that poltergeist.
so anyway, one night they sat there, like, sort of a bit awkward watching the telly and that, and they hear some banging in the next room. So she goes, "Oh God, what's that?"
Oh, he hadn't moved in, had he, the ghost?
So
to some of the empty rooms.
So there's this
He's moved some friends and family in.
There's this banging about going on.
No,
so
listen,
she gets up, right?
Yeah.
And what it is, they had the baby in the next room because there wasn't much room for the cot.
Right, so they left the baby with the ghost.
So they go into the room where the baby is, and the banging is like, do you know those plastic balls you get that you can chuck round the room and like they go mental?
Right.
The ones that you chuck once and they keep bouncing for ages. That was bouncing around the room.
Wow, what, the baby had thrown it?
Hitting all the walls, and the baby was there, stood in the cot, sort of laughing.
Right.
And looking at the ball, and wherever it looked, the ball went.
Yeah.
And then she said, "Stop doing that."
Yeah.
And the ball just stopped.
Did it?
And it rolled a bit and stopped.
Right. So the baby had thrown the ball and it was watching it as it bounced around the room?
It wasn't throwing it, it was in control of it.
No, the point is, Steve, the baby has been doing it. Would have been the baby all along.
The baby had been messing with the furniture. It was
So
the
it's
baby
a
that had the
super
power. Yeah, it's the baby that had the power.
Special baby.
It's a baby that had the power. It's a
What power?
baby that had the power.
What-
the
what's
power
the power?
of telekinesis.
Right.
They were then trying to convince me that telekinesis was not like all the other stuff that I didn't believe in, but that was a science.
Right.
Telekinesis was possible.
Yes.
Yeah, it's not like ghosts and demons and all that sort of. Telekinesis is different.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
a science.
But Nick's auntie saw it, and
I love the fact that you're telling me that someone else's auntie saw it. So I should be satisfied with that.
Yeah.
I should be satisfied with that. I mean,
no,
So does she still live in one room with all her possessions?
no, I think
the baby grew out of it, apparently.
it grew
The
up.
baby grew out of it.
So it doesn't use its telekinesis powers
No.
anymore?
Well, no, it's
No.
like in Carrie, innit? She was upset for a bit, and then she got over it.
Okay, I'm just gonna say one thing, Carl. That was a film. Do you want to play a record or?
My mum called me to ask me to look in some of the magazine shops in London for a magazine that she can't find. It's called UFO Data. I said, I ain't heard of it. She said she's seen an advert for it in one of her ghost magazines.
I love the fact that she can't even find the magazine about unidentified flying objects.
Yeah. So we get a clue
She
there.
thinks, I think I saw something, but I don't know whether it was a magazine or not.
So we get a clue there as to why you give any credence to this crap.
Yeah, well, it's you know, I mean,
Mama Pilkington's into the same shit.
there's a lot of space out there, isn't there?
She said that this magazine has got news story about how Aldrin (brackets astronaut) has got some evidence that aliens exist.
Yeah.
I told her that I found out today that the days are about 36 minutes longer on Mars. We chatted about how this is how they are more advanced than us. Do you mean the Martians?
Yeah, if they've got a longer day, that's more time that they're awake working on stuff.
Right, yeah, we know that makes no difference at all.
No, it does.
Think about it. Think
Yeah.
about it.
Look, think about it. 6 o'clock here.
Yeah.
People are going, see you tomorrow. I'm going home. They'll be going, oh, another half hour. They've got a longer day. Productive.
And that's why they're able to fly.
That's why they're whizzing around. It adds up, doesn't it, over the years?
Christ almighty, what drivel!
Suzanne got in from work at 11:30. I told her about the UFOs in Mars. She said she's too tired to chat. I said, does it mean aliens will be more tired than us, or do they get more sleep? I got no answer. I love it when
It
Suzanne
scares
does it.
her.
She never indulges
No,
in
it scares her. Anything with ghosts and UFOs, she sort of...
It doesn't
ignores
scare her,
does
it bores
scare
her.
No, it freaks her out. Scares her.
Okay.
Now, Steve.
Yes.
Karl text messaged me in the week, very excited, because he just watched a programme that proved me and you were stupid. Remember we sort of championed the anti-supernatural?
Yes.
We-
Skeptical view.
We're just absolutely skeptical about things like that. We're atheists. We don't believe in ghosts, anything like that. Anything supernatural. We're followers of James Randi, a genius of our times. But Karl saw something that proved us wrong. I'd like Karl to tell you what this proof was, what he saw on, and look at him. Go on then.
It was on Wednesday night.
Yeah.
I was watching. You see, the problem is I didn't get the full story, so you could pick holes out of it.
Sure.
But I was
Unlike your usual investigations into the supernatural.
Which are
It
thorough.
was called, can I just say what the programme was called?
Mr. Exorcist.
Oh, brilliant.
So
Sounds like an academic work to me.
the bit that I caught, I just flicked it over, sort of seeing what's on the telly, and I thought, oh, Exorcist, I've seen it, but there's nothing else, and I watch it, and then I realised it wasn't the same thing.
Yeah.
Oh, I'll have a bit of this. And there was an old woman and a daughter, and as far as I was aware, the bit I picked up on, they were saying, oh, you know, it's dreadful, and unless you've been through it, you know, you've had ghosts in your house and that, you really don't know what it's like.
Yeah, sure.
And the main thing that seemed to be getting them down was the fact that the budgie was getting stressed.
The budgie was getting stressed.
Because animals can sense the other side, can't
Oh, okay. Can they?
they? Yeah.
Okay.
So,
And how was that manifesting itself? You don't know. What was the budgie doing?
I think it just wasn't happy.
Right. Did it explain that to people, or
No,
how
do you
did it
know,
express that?
budgies are known for being chirpy, aren't they?
I see, and it
And
wasn't chirpy.
It normally swings on its little perch and that. And
Just depressed because it was
Right.
possessed.
It was just sat around in its pyjamas.
so
No, come on,
So-
Steve.
so-
Come on, Steve. You're making this a mockery. So the budgie was depressed because he could sense the ghost.
yeah,
Yeah.
and then this
yeah,
this guy, this Mr. Exorcist, came round.
Was that his name?
Yeah,
Was he a priest or something?
yeah, he might have been.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I picked
Did he
up
did
at
he have
the
a
end.
did he have a, like a black coat with a little white collar? That's usually the.
He had his coat on, so you couldn't tell.
No, sure. Okay.
But so he came round and he sort of did his thing, and then
And was
the
he trying?
next shot,
Was he trying to exorcise the budgie?
No,
no,
the
ghost.
house.
Right.
The
So
house,
it
yeah.
wasn't that the budgie had a
was
demon
clearing
on
the
it.
house
No.
out.
Okay.
No, this
So-
wasn't a possession, was it? This was a straightforward. It wasn't a poltergeist or anything. It was just a.
It was a haunted house.
Yeah.
But
Sure.
that's the thing he was saying. He was saying you can have like your ghouls and that aren't that bad, that aren't going to cause you any problems.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
obviously the budgie, they've got weak hearts and that, haven't they? and
Sure.
I
So
don't
so
know.
he go on. So
so anyway, basically he sorted it out, did whatever he did, and the next shot you see is like the budgie making a noise and swinging
It's
the
happy
lights
again.
over the moon again, and the old woman was like happy because she was
she couldn't
getting
believe her luck.
stressed.
Yeah.
And that's
The
it.
priest didn't come in and go, well, you should feed that bird. Give it a bit of millet. It was happy. He goes, right.
No,
See you
it's-
later. No. It was a. So
It's budgies are. My mum's got a budgie, and they're fairly happy all the time, aren't they? So it's got to be something fairly odd.
you never see a budgie sitting down going, I feel like topping myself, to be honest.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Though?
No.
Do you know
no.
you can have like a moody dog? You can see a dog when it's unhappy if it's walking down the street.
You can have a moody canary, can't you? And what they do is they often tell the police what you've been doing. They're known for that. Yeah.
So
basically,
so that for you is proof that the supernatural exists. A bird in a cage got a little bit annoyed, wasn't chirping as much as it normally did. Who knows why? There could have been a little draft up its, and
Cloaca.
exactly.
That's
Anyway,
a medical term.
Anyway, a man came in and did whatever he did.
Yeah.
And used your friend.
Mr. Exorcist, though, Steve.
Yeah.
This wasn't any bloke off the street. This was Mr. Exorcist.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
And for you, that's the proof that there's.
just because like if it was a person, you go, oh, they're playing up for the camera.
yeah,
you know,
a budgie could possibly act like that, Steve.
Yeah, I see what you mean. You're saying a budgie would not be it wouldn't be trying to become famous. or
No,
trying to get on
not
the telly.
like Lassie.
No, sure.
It was
sure.
basically a show off.
Yeah, or Champion the Wonder Horse.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I think
I've changed my tune, Rick. I don't know about you.
I have, and I think we should play a record.
Again, I broke the rules in the week. I met up with Karl. I had lunch with him. And we were chatting and having a cup of tea. And it got onto one of Karl's favourite programmes, was the Tales of the Unexpected.
Ah, of course.
And all I can think is that he's probably the only person in Britain where they were unexpected. I mean, to him, when that twist came in, he'd go, gee, I can't...
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Can't believe
So
it.
it was the tree that did it. I mean, he was probably the only... And we were telling all these stories of horror, and he liked horror stories. And I told him this story. And I don't know if this had come across the radio, but I told him this story. It was a short. It was a horror short.
This was a film you saw, was it?
Yeah, yeah. And what it was, it started off just there'd been a car crash. You see, it's a horrendous wreck, and you saw it from the point of view of the person in the car, and he was calling for his mate, and he was going, Dave. And he sort of looked over and saw a body without a head that had been thrown at. He goes, oh no, Dave, Dave. And then into the field of view came Dave, his mate, and looked at him with a look of horror, and then it sort of went black, and you realised that he was just a head, and it had been his body.
Oh, wow.
Right?
Yeah.
And I said, then it came up at the end, at the executions in the French Revolution, people experience consciousness for, you know, and he went, oh, no, he said, it wouldn't be for that long. And then he went, if it was a chicken, it would work. Imagine remaking that film, but it's two chickens in horrendous car crash.
Their own fault for driving.
It would work. No, he wasn't having that.
Yeah.
No, it was too long. I think he said, how long was this film? I went, oh no, 5 minutes. He went, no. It would work if it was a chicken.
I like the way that Karl in something like, when you relate an incident like that, he's appalled and offended and annoyed by the people that made it, even though he's never seen it.
Oh, he's annoyed, yeah. Like
I want to see it. I think it's a good idea,
yeah.
but they should have thought it through a bit more.
Yeah. Do you have a favourite Tales of the Unexpected, one that you remember particularly that shook you up?
Yeah, we were talking about the one on, where, there's some woman in prison. Have you seen that one?
No, I can't remember them all.
Right? This woman's in prison.
Yeah.
And, she gets a bit friendly with the guy who takes the dead bodies out.
Right.
And, he said, I can get you out of here. He said, what you've got to do, right? You've got to, I don't know, at midnight.
When you hear the bell toll, that means there's been a dead body.
Yeah, there's been a dead body. So what you got to do is go into like the place where all the dead bodies are, get in the first coffin on the right, and then I'll come along and carry you out, and you can run away and escape.
Yeah.
Right? So she goes, yeah, all right then. So she hears the bell go.
I'll bury you, right? And then I'll come back later and dig you up.
Right.
Yeah, but
That's the
that
point.
It doesn't matter.
It does matter. Trust me, Karl, it
Alright,
really
then,
matters.
okay.
Listen, I don't know if I'm going to ruin this for people at home.
Yeah.
Can I just skip to the end? I would imagine that she gets buried and he doesn't come back, and she has to get buried alive.
Better than that.
Okay.
Yeah, she does it. She gets into the coffin.
Yeah, shh.
Go on.
Right. So she gets in the coffin, and she's lying there for ages.
She's
and so
buried.
She can feel a bit of movement going on, so she's obviously, you know, being carried somewhere. So she's thinking, this is it, I'm getting out. And she's lying there for ages and thinking, why isn't someone coming and lifting the lid off this? Do you know what I mean? Letting me get out. So she's really bored. She gets a lighter out, right? Lights it to have a look at who she's lying on. It's only the fella who said he'd help escape.
Oh.
How bad is that?
That is... How bad is that?
So it is quite important that she's buried alive then, isn't it? In retrospect, you realise that the jeopardy is that she is buried alive and can't get out.
Yeah.
Yeah. It makes it so much worse, doesn't it, than just like lying in the morgue and going, actually, I'm getting out of here.
Yeah.
This isn't gonna work.
Look at Karl's face, having told that, he's so pleased. His face is lit up, he's beaming like a child.
Have you seen any?
Is that your favourite horror thing ever?
That's a good one. And
Let's see if anyone knows what the finger is. When that bloke was under the ground, wiggling his finger.
we were talking about one with some fella who's stuck in the ground or something.
This is a motif I noticed in your particular favourite ones.
Yeah.
Right?
People stuck in the ground. Go on.
Right, so
It's a fella, is it?
Yeah, a fella stuck. Now, I seem to remember it just being his foot, to be honest, being stuck in a hole. And
No, he was under the ground and he got a little thing out of the pavement and he put his finger up and wiggled it to try and attract attention. Then you see a woman come along and her stiletto heel just knocks his finger off.
You see, I'm wondering whether it's the same one as I saw.
Yeah, it could be two like that, couldn't there? It's a...
They were running out of ideas by the last series.
It's a big theme in Hollywood.
Or, what was that one you told me about with the porn? That was a good one.
Oh, this was fantastic, right? Right. There was this,
Sorry, can I just check now? We're just remembering classic episodes of the Tales of the Unexpected
this is important. Well, I saw one, right? I saw one, on Tales of the Unexpected, right? And it was, these two gents, what they used to do, they look down the obituaries, and they'd blackmail, the wife or the son of a dead eminent person, like might be a priest or a doctor, or something like that, and they'd go and they'd say, he bought some, erotic, stuff from us, before he died, and he owes, 100 guineas and all this sort of stuff, and they'd pay up because it'd be so embarrassing, they just didn't want them, so they'd just pay him, right? And this one bloke said, who are these people? I'll meet with them. And he goes round there, and he goes round, and, they go, your father, he goes, my father could not have bought any erotic material from you. And they did it, he goes, he couldn't have, he's blind. Right, and that was the twist. And Karl went, so it was magazines, not videos then.
Yeah. Now think about it, Steve. Is that so stupid?
Well, presumably it was set in olden times because people, professional pornographers don't tend to call it, you know, erotic material.
Yeah.
They tend to call it, you know, juicy jugs or whatever. But more than that, I don't understand how a video is going to be any use to a blind person either. I know that you can hear the sound, Carl. Look at him nodding like he's caught me out.
Yeah, what sound will you hear? Do 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 do. Your meter needs looking at? Yes. Cut. What's then? What's that? Then it's just noises, isn't
Occasional
it?
groans.
Yeah.
Right.
You could listen through the wall at your neighbours.
He does.
I mean, that's why I save a lot of money. But I thought you were going to point out, Carl, that they could have had a Braille porno. I hadn't thought of that.
Look, feel the lumps on that.
Exactly. Think about it, Carl.
Think about it.
You're excited now.
Yeah.
Your girlfriend's away, Carl.
Yeah, the cheese grate has only entered the cupboard.
No, she's a good-looking lady.
Yeah.
There was a thing on about Dracula.
Right. What, Dracula?
And I found a flaw in it.
Go on.
Not the fact that he's the living dead and and drinks blood to stay alive and he doesn't reflect.
And he can turn into a
mirrors.
bat.
Well,
And you can go on.
the mirror thing, you can't look in mirrors, can he?
Well, he can look in mirrors, but he can't see himself in a mirror.
Like that still doesn't work.
Go
Okay,
on.
go on.
It doesn't work at all, Carl. It doesn't work
Go
anyway.
on.
Well,
Centre parting's always really neat.
His centre parting's always really
How does he do it if he can't look in the mirror?
Blood on the floor or something it was called. Rubbish.
I love the flaw in the Dracula film is that his centre parting's too neat. How did he do it without a mirror? Oh.
Was it a documentary about Dracula?
No,
Yeah,
there was
the real
it's
Dracula. The
called-
real Dracula.
Yeah, the real Dracula, the
It's
true
just a
Dracula.
film. It had blood on the floor or something. It's called.
Yeah.
It's rubbish. From 1970.
Yeah.
Right, but you
know-
stayed up and watched that.
You know there aren't
Yeah,
really
that's right.
vampires in that sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it still annoys you that his centre parting was too neat.
Well, if you're going to do it, do you know what I mean?
I'd like to see him with a fringe sort of pushed forward
Mm.
and maybe a hood up, alright? Come to stop your blood and that, alright?
Yeah, just bits of tissue paper all over his face where he's cut himself shaving.
I can't see it. Bloody mirrors annoying me now, innit? I'd love to see that. A little mank Drac. That'd be great, wouldn't it?
Well, that might be a film that we do in our movie.
Mancula.
Just getting onto that.
Mancula. Count Mancula. Alright? You got any rave? You got any rave music, huh? Got any Oasis or that? That'd be brilliant. He came from Manchester. Please welcome Mancula. Alright? That'd be great, wouldn't it? His hair's a mess. Well, I can't see a mirror, can I?
I had to go for an ultrasound, right?
Isn't that what you do if you're pregnant?
Yeah, but do you know I've had kidney stones?
Are you
and that? We've
expecting?
talked about
Lucky
it
you.
in the other podcasts and that we've done, right? I've had a kidney stone. I don't want to go on about it. But it was painful and that.
Well, you are going on about it.
Yeah, and there was
no,
nothing.
but I'm just saying.
It's routine. Don't worry about
It's
it.
not routine.
Well,
Why
it
do they have
is.
to keep
Loads
going
and loads
back
of
then?
people.
Why do they have to keep going back? You're questioning me.
You're
on
getting into a
ultrasound.
routine. Keep going back. It's better than working it. You don't have to
Promote the
sell the book. No. Holiday or hospital. Holiday or hospital. Holiday or hospital. I don't know. I'll just say that we've got a book out, right? The World of Karl Pilkington. It's out now. When he goes on holiday the first week, right? He's in and out of hospital. He's doing no good. He's got to go in again. He goes away with his family like twice a year. Goes away with Suzanne's family twice a year. He's now said he doesn't want to do any press for it because it's boring, or he doesn't want. Why aren't you plugging the book? Well, I mean, if you're an author, you've got to get behind
I've
it.
bought books without hearing someone telling me to buy stuff.
No, you're
You just buy
you're
stuff.
lazy. You're
No,
lazy.
I'm not lazy. It's just that I'm sick and tired of putting telly on or the radio and having people telling me, oh, you've got to buy this, you've got to buy that. No, I don't have to do anything. I'll have a look myself when I'm in a bookshop. Let them just find it.
But there are hundreds and thousands of books, Carl. They may not find it.
Well,
You're
just
trying
have
to
a look.
direct them towards it.
I don't want to direct them to it. I just, if you come across it,
But
most
why
of
have
the
you put
books,
all this work into this book, all these illustrations you've done and
because
extra
I
material?
enjoyed it for me.
Right, but you don't want anyone to read it,
Yeah,
so
they
why
will
just put it in
read
a drawer?
They will read it. They'll find it. People will find it. It's in the shop, isn't it? I'm always finding little books on different things and what have you.
Yeah, but you don't read them. You read the first couple of lines and you get it wrong. What,
So I went back, right, and they had the ultrasound thing where they're looking to see what else is in there. And when I was in the waiting room, there was a woman there. I reckon she was about 98. Now, why are they rooting around in her to see what's up with her? Just let her die. Do you know what I mean? If she's not in any
Jesus.
pain. No. All
Such a-
I'm just saying, how long does she want to be around? And the problem is, she went off, right, I was sat in the waiting room, she went off into the little cubicle to put her, a gown on. And because she's old, she can't bend her arms and that. So she came out with it all open on the back. And it was horrible. It looked like a chicken that hasn't been looked after, right? It was all leathery skin and that, right? Now, the thing is, it's all very well keeping people alive, but the surroundings of the body isn't meant to be lasting that long, is it? Do you know what I mean? The actual skin of a body, it's all very well keeping the heart going, checking the kidneys and all that, but we're not meant to be around this length of time. Yet we're messing with it.
Yeah. Just do the gown up.
You never see insects or anything like that look old. You don't go, look at the state of that.
Because they live about 4 weeks!
Yeah, but maybe that's the way it's meant to be. In the same way, maybe we were only meant to live to be 40.
But why did you go in for your operation then? Why didn't you just think, well, this is it, I'm having the time?
If they're looking after an old woman who's about 98, I'm having a go.
Well, of course.
Because you want to live on.
She might have been flirting with you.
No, she was...
Keeping it open, just so you can have a little look.
But I'm just saying, is that right? Is it right that they're going in there rooting around and stuff? I didn't like it. I didn't like having it done, you know. I don't like going to the hospital and stuff and the doctors and all that. And she was pushing the thing down. And she said, oh, you can have a look if you want. So
what down where?
On me kidneys. She was pushing like this little scanner thing.
Oh, right.
She was going to have a look. I was going, I don't want to have a look. She's going, what's up with you? I said, I don't want to see me insides.
Did they put a tube down the Indian knob?
Yeah, they did all that. We've talked about that in the other.
But you were unconscious, weren't you?
Yeah, but it doesn't matter, does it? If you know it's going on, it still bothers you. It's because you're asleep.
Well, not really, no.
What do you mean?
Well, why does it bother you if you're asleep?
Well, that's like saying, oh, I woke up and the house was robbed. Oh, it doesn't matter, you're asleep.
Well, no, but...
It's still going to bother you, isn't it?
but you knew it was happening and you did it willingly. It's not pleasant to go in and be made to go unconscious. That's the unpleasant bit, isn't it? And pain.
Well, no, it's more the idea of it, isn't it? That's why, you know, doctors telling you everything they're doing. It's like, don't tell me, you know what you're doing, just do it. I'm not going to have a go at it. You know, it's not like DIY people coming around and going, oh, what you should have done there is, and you can go, oh, I'll have a go at that next time on my own without calling you out. If I get kidney stones again, I'm not going to go, oh, I've had it done before, I know what to do, I'll stick it up there. Doesn't happen, does it? But I can't, what was I saying? So anyway, so she was pushing the scanner over me kidneys and stuff.
Yeah.
Now, it was weird with her, because at no point did she make eye contact with me.
Well, I don't understand what that means. Well, she meant to wink and go, your kidneys are fucked.
No, but it's just weird that she probably spends her days looking inside people more than she does talking to people. I just thought it was odd that that's how she sees people. When she looks at people, she probably sees kidneys.
What, this doctor?
The woman doctor.
Well, doctor?
Yeah.
Right. So, what you're saying is, the strange thing is that she often spends more time looking in people, because she's a doctor, than chatting to them.
Yeah.
And is it weird that Jonathan Ross is the other way around, because he's a chat show host? He spends more time talking to people than looking inside them.
No, but even when I was
because he's got a different job.
When I was asking her questions, saying, you know, does it look alright? What's it doing? Is it moving about? You know, asking her questions about my kidney. She could have quite easily just turned around and give me a bit of eye contact.
But she was saying, shut up, I'm concentrating, I'm at work.
She was looking at the screen in order to answer your questions.
Yeah, she's at work, she's doing something.
No, but just...
If she was here now going, Karl, what are you doing with that microphone? You'd go, shut the fuck up, I'm doing a podcast.
Did she run this scanner over your head? And if so, did she find anything? We'd like to try and educate Karl, Rick, as you know, as we have done since we've known him, really, and he doesn't really seem to absorb any information.
No.
And I was asked recently, when I was going back to Bristol, if I would come and talk to a classroom of school children.
All right.
You know, just talking about careers, and particularly my career. And I went down there. It was in Bristol. It was an inner city school, quite rough area.
You're a son of Bristol. You're
exactly. They love me.
You're a
down there.
celebrated son of Bristol. You're Golden Globe winning.
person who's returned to the homeland.
It annoys me when I go down there that I'm not met as I get off the train like the Beatles used to be when they came back from America.
By a mayor and a brass band.
Hordes of people, ticker tape.
Forever this day will be called Steve Merchant Day.
Exactly. It frustrates me that I just sneak back into town. There's no fanfare. Yeah. But basically they asked me to come talk at this school, and I sort of batted them away and said I'm too busy. And so I foolishly left them the opportunity to ask me again, which they did, and I didn't have a decent excuse, so I went. And I was expecting to talk to maybe a room of sixth formers. They were 9. These kids, 9 and 10 years old. But I realised as I was walking into the school, I was suddenly really nervous. I was more nervous than anything I've ever done. Because I realised that I've not spoken to a child like that since I was a child myself. I've never interacted with them. So I didn't know at what level I would be able to pitch this talk. You know, I didn't know what they understood, what ideas they understood. Obviously, in my mind, I was picturing Karl, and then I was ratcheting it up a few years, sort of IQ-wise. And I went in
So
there,
what did you talk to them about?
and I was supposed to talk about careers, and I realised very quickly that they didn't really understand conceptual
Did they know
ideas.
you were?
Not really. One or two of them vaguely knew. One of them went, "What's Rick Gervais like?" And I said,
You got a deep voice.
yeah. Actually, that was one of the teachers. And I'm supposed to be talking about careers, how to get into careers. And I start trying to explain the idea of being a writer, and I say that it's very important to be able to get inside other people's minds, you know, figure out how they think, and how, you know, and trying to understand other people. But this, they didn't really seem to grasp. They started talking amongst each other. You know, they were just losing interest. I lost them straight away. I was devastated.
Oh no.
So then, and this is the worst thing, right? I started lying to them. Because I realised that every time I told a slight lie, because I thought they'd be interested, they were. So I carried
know
on
Justin Timberlake.
You're not joking, right? They said, one of them said, "I understand you used to be a DJ," and I went, "Yeah, it's great being a DJ because you get to meet pop stars like Robbie Williams and Beyonce." Never met either of them. Never met them. And they went, one of the kids went, "What's Beyonce like?" and I went, jokingly, I went, "You wouldn't like her." And I said, "No, I'm joking. She's lovely. She's sweet. She's good as gold." I was making it up. But they were loving this, and the teacher was going, "Would you all like to meet Beyonce?" And they were going, "Yeah." And I was thinking, God, well...
I'll bring her down tomorrow.
Well, exactly, but I don't know why I felt it was like I wanted to win the approval of these 9-year-olds.
That's amazing!
Because my own achievements, I realised, wouldn't mean anything to them. You know, I can talk about the people I have met, but they don't care if I've met Robert De Niro, but they're interested if I've met Girls Aloud. Or me and Girls Aloud, some of the times we've had together, it turns out. But it is fascinating when you have to interact with people, with children like that, because I've got no concept of how to talk to children. To me, I can't grasp the difference really in conversation and chat between, say, a 7-year-old and a 13-year-old. I don't know at what point they learn stuff and pick stuff up. Do they understand? Do you know what I mean? I find it really hard.
I remember once when I was about 9, the headmaster, deputy headmaster, used to do a little fable. I've talked about him in stand-up. He used to do a little fable. There's one I remember where he got a tube of toothpaste, and he got someone up. He said, "You, go out here, squeeze this tube of toothpaste out on this board," and he squeezed it all out, right? And he squeezed it all out and emptied it. He went, "Now put it back in." And the kid tried to struggle, and he goes, "You can't do it." He said, "It's easier to do something than undo it." Okay, go back to class. Like people are going, "Oh, I get it. I know what he means."
Yeah.
They're just thinking, don't squeeze all the toothpaste out.
Yeah.
Just save some.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, there's no way they're going to take on
No,
that
exactly.
metaphor at the
It's
age of 9.
too conceptual, yeah.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Yeah, just stop misbehaving or I'll smack you. That worked. Karl, have you had to have any dealings with kids? How do you get on with kids? Do you relate to them? Or are they just as angry and perplexed by your views as we are?
I mean, it's with everything, isn't it? Everyone's different and that. I can get on with some young kids alright, and some of them are, like, you know, a bit cocky and what have you. But, I'm sort of getting on with a baby at the moment, because, I've been made a godfather.
Think of that.
So,
Wow, who did they reject?
I know.
no, I mean,
Who said no?
Yeah.
well,
many people
I
said no?
did. I did at first, and
Brilliant.
then Suzanne said, "Look, you know, it's not really a choice. It's not like a job interview or something that you're thinking about. Is it a good thing? So you've been asked. You should take it on."
But what are they? What if they? Hold on. If you're the godfather of this
Yeah.
kid, presumably you're friends with them, and they probably listen to this
they're good
podcast.
friends.
So now they're hearing, for the first time, that you didn't want to be
Yeah,
godfather.
but I think that's good, because they can hear that, you know, it wasn't. I didn't just do it because I was asked. I thought about it. I thought it through. You know, I was worried. It was kind of like, is this a job? and I was just
Well, it's
asking
nothing but tokenistic, is it? You're not
well,
really
this is what I looked into. I said, we went back, and I said, right, I've been thinking about this thing. I've heard that it's my job, if anything happens to them, I've got to kick in. I'd have to start looking after the baby. So I said, right, how many of you are in your family? If that happens, am I going to start getting a phone call or what? And they said, no, there's a big family, you're not, you're at the bottom of the list. So I was like, how many? And just finding out what their age is. And I've only got a small flat. It would have to sleep in the sink or something, right? So I checked all that out, and all safe. So this baby, it's spooking me out a bit because it doesn't blink. And that's pretty weird when you're sort of talking to it and you're thinking, it's not blinking.
Are you sure it's not asleep?
No, honestly, it's weird. If something doesn't blink, it's like it's evil. Because blinking just makes something look a bit more friendly, doesn't it? And I was stood there, talking to it. I just tell it little stories about anything. It's lying there looking up at me.
How old is it?
It's must be about 2.5 months.
Well then, why are you telling it stories?
Because it likes it. But it's just weird how, then I'll sort of forget the story because I'm looking at it going, it's not blinked yet. It's been about 10 minutes, it's not blinking. So then I forget the end of the story and I just walk away because it's not bothered anyway, it's probably not listening, is it? But
What a pointless tale! What a pointless tale now and at the time.
I think it likes it. The kids like stories, like you say, they're not bothered if it's not true or anything.
Or if you walk away before the ending because you've forgotten it.
That's
Brilliant.
why it's not blinking. It's so dumbstruck at the idiocy coming out of your gob.
No, but you don't need to hear endings of stories. Maybe, like I said
That's
to
the
you.
point. That's the point of a story, isn't
No,
it?
it's not.
That's the point why people... That's why people like stories, because they're hooked into knowing what happened.
No, because there's loads of films that happen, and they have a funny ending. You leave there going, I wonder what's meant to happen, and you make it up in your own head. You go, well, I bet what happened is that person went off and got married to that woman, and they lived happily.
And then in your head, it's the truth. It's actually what happened.
But I think that's better. Why are we told everything? Because
So what would your end be to a story such as The Elephant Man? Okay, he's rescued from the freak show, he's put in the hospital, he becomes something of a celebrity, then what happens?
He discovered he had big ears and he could fly, and he joined the circus and he was the main attraction.
I wouldn't change the end that much, because at the end of the day, you can't make something up that's not believable. At the end of the day, he's got an head like an elephant. He's not going to have a good life, is he? So there's no point making out that he went on, loads of women fancied him, and he modelled hats. It's not going to happen. So he's got to die. The Elephant Man had to die, but at the same time,
Was shot by poachers.
show
for his tusk.
Show a few positives, because I'm sure there was good bits in his life. I don't know what they were, but look at everything.
What was he like when he was a little baby elephant?
They didn't cover what he was like as a kid, but you can get away with them sort of looks when you're a baby. You can be an ugly baby, and everyone goes, "Oh, isn't it nice?" There was some woman in a cafe the other week that I was sat in, and she came up and she sat down with a mate, and she was talking loudly, going on about, "Oh, the baby's lovely." They said it's got lovely big eyes, really big hands and feet. Now that doesn't sound like a nice baby to me. I felt like saying it sounds like a frog, but I thought, I don't know her. There's only so much you can say to a stranger. I don't know what kept me from saying it. That's what I was saying before about there's something.
It sounds like a frog.
There's something inside of you that stops you.
Yeah, that's amazing that you have the urge to go, that doesn't sound like a good baby. What, love? I'm just listening to conversation. That baby you're talking about sounds like a fucking frog.
Yeah, but something stopped him saying it.
I just came back from America, and they love Halloween.
They're obsessed over there.
I mean, it's a proper thing out there. Here, it's sort of half-hearted. A few middle-class families, sort of.
But do you think it'll
dress
get
up.
more popular here though if we do find out that ghosts are about?
Well, that'll never happen because they're not.
No,
okay?
but if they did, then
But-
suddenly that would be a big.
Well,
it'd be a big day.
America makes things famous now, because of film culture and everything. So yeah, it's all from that. I doubt we celebrated much at all, did we, 50 years ago? So I think it's crept
Oh,
up.
certainly over here we didn't, but it's
No.
been largely introduced over here through commercial ideas, isn't it?
Yeah,
we can
yeah.
sell stuff for
and film and things like that. And but out there, they start like weeks and weeks before, and they're decorated like proper. And but I saw a little bakery in Soho, and it didn't look right with cobwebs all over it and spiders on the buns.
Yeah.
But even though it's fake, it's just I don't think you should do it on a bakery. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean. It's a bit creepy.
That surely puts you off the product a little bit.
I always find it a bit depressing. Like last time I remember going into supermarkets and you see sort of these old women who in their 60s and they're doing this job they don't really want to be doing, but they've been made to dress up
as a hat. I know,
as a witch or as Cinderella, and it just.
Well, they could do it in like a morgue or something, just to sort of
brighten up the place.
Well, just so people aren't that scared.
Imagine that. Imagine you're going to identify your dead relative, and they go, "What's the spiders all over?" It's 31st October.
No,
okay.
But just make it a bit spookier and have a bit of fun with it, and let's not get serious about, like I say, passing on.
Yeah, but those sort of people have to take their job seriously. I remember when my mum died, and I had to go along, and I was talking about what wreath they wanted, and this person, quite rightly, had to turn off their sense of humour in a way, because I suppose they mustn't offend anyone, so I had to. They spoke like that at all times.
Yeah.
At all times. Okay, and what would you like the wreath to say? She was a mother and a grandmother. I went, yeah, mother, grandmother, and what was her name? I said, her name was Eva. I said, and I made a joke. I said, do we get a discount because her name's short? And she went, well, actually, didn't laugh, didn't get that at all. She just went, just answer the question. She went, well, actually, you pay by the letter. I thought, okay, that fell flat. I'll go again. I went, well, a friend used to call her E.
Yeah.
She went, I'm joking. She went, okay. Nothing.
Yeah.
Bad audience. Bad time, bad audience. Tough crowd.
Yeah, Undertaker's never known for their...
Yeah, exactly, yeah. They
laughter.
don't crack jokes, Karl. A friend of mine was trained to be a doctor, and in his first year, when they practiced, they intern at the hospital, he was watching this patient, and two other doctors came in, and I won't say his name. They said, can you go and check on Mr. So-and-so? He went, yeah, and change his drip. So he went in, changed his drip, came back out. The doctors came, after about 10 minutes, they came running and said, what did you do? What did you do? And they went in there and said, I just changed the drip. He goes, well, he's dead. He's dead. He was going, I just changed the drip. I did this and that. And they started laughing. He goes, no, he was dead when we sent you in there.
Yeah. Now, that is almost excusable because it's imperative if you're a doctor
Absolutely.
to become accustomed to the fact that people die and that it's,
exactly. Yeah, so they were making a joke about a dead body that means nothing to them other than professionally.
Yeah.
They were getting through it. He thought he'd just murdered someone.
Yeah.
Well, he thought he just killed someone. But yeah, they have to be desensitised. But they wouldn't do that in front of the relatives. They wouldn't go, I had a laugh earlier with a young intern. When your dad died, we sent him in to change the drip. Didn't even check. It was quite good. Anyway, let's get him out of here.
No, but they do have a laugh. I heard about a doctor who was working on a brain, right? And apparently when they work on the brain, it's best if they keep you awake. Because, just so you can go, that hurts a bit, and they go, oh, we best not touch that bit again.
That's the reason.
Amazing.
That's the reason.
No, there's
amazing.
certain operations, isn't there, where they go, we can knock you out for that, but for this one we want to know.
It's probably because the brain needs to be active in order to...
Yeah, they show activity.
But sure,
so
it's actually so you can wake up and go, yeah, no, that hurt. That stings. Hell, that stings. Don't pop that in there.
You can't feel anything in the brain anyway. No nerve endings.
Really?
You can't feel it, can you?
Well, maybe there's another reason, but anyway, his head's open. He's sat on this chair. The doctor's going...
I reckon he was laying down.
I thought he was laying down, but in your world he's not. He's sat on a hard-backed
I think it's more like in front of a mirror, like a hairdresser type thing, right? And he's cut the skin off.
So get a bit shorter there.
So he's
for the weekend, sir? I won't be shagging with no brain.
Anyway, so he's cut the skin off and, chopped a bit. And you're always going to get bits, aren't you? Sort of. Whenever you cut anything, you end up with a bit missing. But anyway, somehow he does the brain stuff. He fixes it. I don't know what he was doing. But
Don't you? You don't know about. You don't know
You
about
don't know
that.
the intricacies of brain surgery? That I find perplexing.
So you're not a neurosurgeon? I don't want. Oh, okay.
So they
go on.
sorted out the problem, right? And he goes, right, all we've got to do now is stick the head bit back on.
Yeah.
That's what it's called, by the way. The head
Oh, this
bit.
happened. This happened.
Yeah, the head bit's connected to the face bit.
So he sticks.
Nurse, head bit. Doctor, do you need leg bit? Not yet, nurse. Head bit, then leg bit.
So they stuck the head bit back on, and then
Can you pass me the Sharpie thing?
he was trying to sew it, and he was going, "This isn't fitting. This." He's going, "I don't know." And you know, like because the
Right, if this turns out that it's
Someone else's head.
or
No.
a toupee from the doctor next to him,
Yeah.
or a cat. Wow!
No, it's-
You've sewn a cat to my brain!
it's none of that. He's trying to sew it, and he's thinking, "Why isn't it fitting?" And he's thinking, "Is it because the head's swollen?" Because he's been messing about in it, and things
Yeah.
swell, don't they? And messed about
Yeah.
with. So he's messing with it. He's going, I don't understand this, and he's panicking a bit because the patient's awake and chatting and stuff, and it's difficult to have a normal chat when you're panicking a
I
little
know,
bit.
there's a queue as well. People want their brain done. And they're just reading old copies of magazines. They're going, hurry up.
So
I'm going out tonight. Do you want to wash it? No, just, I'll wash it later. Just take it off, do the brain, put it back on.
anyway, what happens is he has to start rummaging,
To start rummaging.
sort of rummaging.
No! There's no N before the first G. Rummaging.
Well, he starts looking through the. He starts having a look through the bin.
Oh, what?
Because he knows he's chucked a bit away of the skin.
Right. Where is this surgery where a bloke's sitting up in front of a mirror and there's a bin? Is there a little basketball ring above the bin as well? So when he throws things, it goes through there first?
I'm just saying that's what happened, and you were saying about things that happen, and you've got a joke about
So
it.
he's rummaging, and what happens?
He said to him, the fellow was starting to sense the nervousness, and he said, "What's going on here?" And he says, "Oh, you're never going to believe it. I've lost a bit of your skin.
Lost a bit of your head, yeah.
I can't."
Why did he
sew."
cut? I don't understand. Why is there... Why
That's
is it in
what I
two
mean.
bits?
Because things just break up, don't they? It's like chicken. When you see him walking around, everything's in place and it sticks together. You cook it, suddenly it all breaks up.
He cooked his face before he cut it up.
I'm just saying how flesh, it sticks together well
Yeah, but
when...
he'd cooked the scalp before he'd taken it off his
No,
head,
but
had
it's
he?
just an example of how
Oh,
skin
okay.
can break up with the muscles and everything.
So he's rummaging in the bin, and does he find the head?
He found the bit, and then he's like, "Oh, sorry about that," and he sort of managed to stick it on.
Right, he
and
didn't
stuff.
wash it off or anything.
Yeah, I'm sure he'd give it a bit of a rinse. But I'm just saying how,
Nonsense.
you've got to make a joke out of stuff, haven't you?
Yeah, it's bollocks.
If you're a doctor.
Okay, that's good.
So where was the joke in that story? At what point I thought this was a story about how doctors have a sense of humour.
Yeah,
When
well,
did he
at
make a
the
joke?
end, he sort of laughed and he sort of said, "Oh, there you go, it's back on, but good job the bin men didn't come or whatever." And they made a joke out of it.
I've never heard such nonsense. I've never
Carl
heard...
just made-